We are live. Ew. Live. Excellent. Hang on. I'm just sorting things out. Good, good, good. And we're here. So, as the stream title and description may suggest, today is the beginning of what I will hopefully turn into a bit of a series. What I want to do is, because I realise that I do this a lot of Sunday afternoons, is show you kind of my setup process that I go through pretty much every Sunday afternoon. So I love making setups in Assetto Corsa. I'm by no means an engineer, but it's something that I have quite a lot of fun with. Just tinkering with the car, trying to get it where I want it to be. I've done it quite a lot. I like to think I'm decent at it, at least for my own driving style, obviously. And I have a tendency to do it for friends who are doing races. Usually on a Sunday night, some of my friends do races. I don't usually compete in them, but I like making them setups to hopefully help them out. And if not help them out, hinder them terribly because my setups are awful. But, you know, it's a fun hobby. So, because of that, I thought it might be quite fun to kind of stream that process now and again. What I want to do at some point, and I'm going to be honest, I don't know if I will, if I'll get around to it, because it's time, but I do want to make a setup tutorial series for Assetto Corsa of how I actually go about doing this, what my process is. But I'm going to try and break that down as I make this setup today. Today, we are driving the Peugeot 308 TCR car at Adelaide. This is the 2016 version of Adelaide. And basically my aim is to make a car go fast around Adelaide. And that's pretty much it. It's a pretty simple goal. We have game audio, that's good to know. And essentially, we're going to see how quick I can get. Obviously, my first step is going to be the default setup. Now, I have actually made a... So, the guys raced last weekend, and they were complaining about the cars because they're front-wheel drive, and I don't think AC does front-wheel drive cars well at all. I'm just going to preface this whole thing with that. I mean, generally, I'm not a fan of front-wheel drive cars anyway, but I don't think AC simulates them particularly well at all. So the whole thing is going to be a lot of me complaining about the fact that this car is not that great. My pedal's squeaking. I apologise for that. So, yeah, they drove it last weekend, but they didn't have a setup. They were complaining about the car. I decided to hop on using a controller because I couldn't be bothered plugging my wheel in, and just to see if I could understand what they were talking about in terms of the handling characteristics, suggest a few changes. It seemed to at least help. I don't know whether it necessarily made them faster, but at least they said that it felt a little bit more comfortable. So I have made a setup for these cars before, which you may have seen in the menu, but I'm going to totally ignore that because it was made using a controller and it was also made for a totally different track. This weekend they are at Adelaide, and so we need to make a setup for Adelaide. If you don't know Adelaide, it's amazing. It's a street circuit. It did host Formula One many, many years ago, but since then tends to be a V8 Supercars track. It's a slightly shorter version than the old V8 Supercar, than the old Formula One track, the modern layout. And you'll see, it's hilarious fun. I don't know how these cars are going to handle around here, so we're going to find that out fairly quickly, I would imagine. So, we are in VR, as you can tell, because I'm better in VR. And that mirror is wrong, and my chat is entirely blocking that mirror, which is quite annoying. So before I start, I'm just going to move that, if you don't mind. Here, no, that one. Settings, no. Chat, there we go. Position. Y. Oh, that'll do. I'm going to go for that. That seems decent. Cool. Yes, that's fine. We're back in the game. We're back in the game. Okay. Let's go for a couple of laps, see what the car handles like first, see what's wrong, probably many things, and see if we can kind of iron those out. Okay. So the first thing that I'm noticing straight away is that this car is very stiff. That tends to be the case for a front-wheel drive touring car, is they need to be quite stiff in order to avoid the horrendous understeer that comes with all the power going to the front axle. So we'll see if I can change that without ruining it too much. So that first sector of Adelaide is very kind of Mickey Mouse, as Martin Brundle would have called it a few years ago. Lots of slow 90-degree corners. We then have this long back, not straight, a hairpin at the end, so hard braking zone, which is going to be difficult. There's kind of two main hard braking zones on this track, turn one and then that hairpin. Although the last corner is reasonably hard braking, as you will see, and it is also tricky to get the car straightened up as it needs to be. So, at the moment I'm noticing a lot of rear locking under brakes, which is not good. Yes, watching this does count as practice, 100%. You're going to learn all kinds of things. Just bear in mind that this is a different version of the track to the one that you're actually going to be driving this evening, though. So, yeah, don't get too many ideas. For some reason, the version that you're actually driving is, if I'm correct, is the one on Race Department, which is a worse version of this track, so whatever. Yeah, that rear locking is pretty horrendous, so I'm going to move the brake bias forward slightly. Is this flat? Yes, it is. Okay, that's better on the brakes. Still slightly unstable at the rear when I'm on the brakes, but to be understood. I can actually carry more speed through that corner than I thought. Yeah. Go to 68 maybe. Tyre pressures were all kinds of wrong as well. What tyre app am I using? Can't remember the name of this tyre app, but it is great. I can find that in a bit though. Oh god. Right, that corner's a problem. Okay. let's start with the tyre pressures and the tyre pressures and the brake bias. I think the brake bias is in a decent place right now. I just need to change the tyre pressures. 28. Okay, let's go for 1, 2, 3, 4 on the tyre pressures. I'm aiming for 29 psi, I think, but we'll see what it's like. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll leave the. I'm gonna take the rear wing off. Leave the fuel as it is. My brake bias was up at 68. I'm gonna overwrite that. Whatever I did was terrible. Right, the name of this tyre app is. Where are we? Tyres app EXT. It is on Race Department. I got it from Race Department, so you'll be able to find that somewhere. I don't know why I just checked my mirror. There's nobody else on track. Yeah, it's always a good idea to start with the tyre pressures in AC, just because the tyre grip in AC is very dependent on the tyre pressures. So it's usually the first thing that I change is get the tyre pressures correct. Once they're correct, then, oh no. Yeah, once they're correct, then I will be able to better judge the car, because it just flat out gives you more grip when the tyre pressures are correct. So I want to see 29 psi on all 4 tyres, which at the moment I'm not seeing. Okay, feels better under braking, that's nice. Okay. That was the reverse entry to the last corner. We might want to go a little bit further forwards on the brake bias then. That's the 3rd gear corner. So currently I'm already trying to sort of think about what the weight of the car is doing, how it's reacting to my pedal inputs. That's the primary issue at the moment. I'm already thinking that in that first section of the lap there, it's very reluctant to turn in when I'm coasting. So that could be, I mean, that could be diff related, but I can't change I can't open up the diff coast anymore. So I'm thinking front spring rate. Now the downside of changing the front spring rate is that's going to make the instability under braking even more, because it's going to make the car dive more, which is the reason why we're losing rear grip under braking. Because all the weight is on the front. So we might need to compensate for that with a bit more brunt. brake bias. Yeah, we don't want to touch that curb. I mean, you can smash over the curbs and the car doesn't, it doesn't spin out, but it does lose you a lot of time. That is the problem, where the car just doesn't want to turn in. When you've not got that big braking zone to really smash the brakes and move the weight forwards, then it can be a real struggle to get the front tyres to grip. Okay. Right, we're in the low 30s. So, let's start making some tweaks, shall we? The reduced aero did help through the kink. I can't change that anymore. There's no front wing or anything that I can change. The toe at the there's toe out at the rear, which is a problem. So I'm going to immediately change that. That's a problem. That'll definitely be stopping, ruining the stability under braking, which is an issue. I want to keep that bit of toe out at the front. I'm not going to change that yet. And I haven't really looked at tyre temperature and stuff, so I don't want to touch the camber just yet. Dampers, I'm probably going to need to change those, but again, I don't want to change that just yet. Diff power, well, I don't want to close up the diff coast anymore because at the moment I'm actually in need of rotation rather than necessarily struggling for it. And the diff power at the moment is fine. I'm tempted to open that up, but we'll see. Brake bias 70s felt better, and I think that the front spring rates need to go down, which has now put me underneath the front ride height limit. So I'm going to bring that up to the minimum, which is 550 on either side. That's okay. Right. The rear spring rates, I'm going to leave those for now at the softest setting. And I'm going to leave the rake. What is the minimum? It's 50 at the rear and 60 at the front. So I do want a bit of rake. So the worst thing that you can do when you're adjusting ride heights and spring rates and stuff is end up in a situation where at speed, you're getting negative rake. Because then you just get horrible high-speed understeer, and that's terrible. I can definitely mess with the bump stops at some point. I suspect it's going to be a case of giving myself plenty of suspension travel, but then I don't know because, again, at high speed, I want to limit that rear suspension travel. So we'll see about that. Let's save this so far and give it another test. Go back out on track for another few laps. I will say that my camera is feeling very bumpy today. I wonder if real head motion has failed to function properly. I might need to fix that in a moment. Okay, so right, it definitely wants to turn in more. That's good. So softening those front springs has worked in that sense. See what else we can do with it though. Through the kink, what's it like? We're okay through there. Actually, a bit better through there, in fact. That was bad. Hit the brakes a bit too late. Brakes are a bit cold, tyres are a bit cold. Well, hopefully, oh god, hopefully I can give you some assistance. In my regular Sunday afternoon setup creation session, rather. Right. See if I can improve on this at all. Tire pressures are okay, but not perfect. I can brake later through there. I can carry more speed. Car doesn't mind those curves, which is nice. That was bad. That's okay. I think I might need to stiffen the rear suspension. Maybe. I don't want to change that just yet. Oh no. Okay, turned in a bit late there. Bad. All of that was bad. And that was also bad. Alright, we're driving poorly, but the car feels better. So that's a positive. In a moment, I'm just gonna restart the game, because I don't think real head motion is working at the moment, so you guys probably have a really jerky view of the game. Okay, well we gained like 4/10 just by changing the front suspension, so that's helped. Right. Just save that for now. And quit. Bear with me. How are we all this fine day? I hope we're all doing well. I certainly am. Right, register DLLs. Successfully registered DLLs. Good. Load. Assetto Corsa. Sip a Coke. All of my sim racing is sponsored by Coca-Cola. They don't know it, but they're a vital contributing factor to all of my racing. Right. Center of the art. There we go. Right, we're in. Hopefully, this is smoother. Still pretty bumpy. Might be slightly better, but it does still feel a little bit bumpy. It's possible I'm just going to need to edit those settings slightly. So I apologise if the stream is slightly jerky for you. It's slightly jerky for me as well. AC doesn't really do the camera settings in VR very well, so... Oh, you can certainly see my face. It's fine, I will fix that in a moment. Well, you can enjoy my sim racing face. Can you see like my concentration face as I hit the brakes? Watch this. This is my braking face. There you go. I don't know if I look super concentrated. Right. Ugh. Game. It should turn up. Come on. Come on. You can... There we go. Right, we're in. Okay, brakes are warm, tyres are not. So, if I recall correctly, we're a 29.8 before. So let's see if I can beat a 29.8. I can carry even more speed through there if I properly send it. That felt good. We've got good rotation. I mean, the rears are freezing cold, so that might that might be part of the reason why we have good rotation. Okay. That was a bit sketch. That was not too bad. Oh no! Yeah. It was gonna happen. It was gonna happen. Sent it slightly too hard. Car feels good though. Tyre pressures at the rear might be a little bit low, but I'll monitor those next time we go out. Right, I do want to change a couple of things. Firstly, I'm going to go into alignment again, and I'm going to increase the rear toe in because it helped the braking stability, and I don't want to push that brake balance any further forwards because it's just going to be terrible. I want to change the dampers, but I'm not entirely sure what I'm going to do with it yet, so I'm not going to do that yet. I want to open up the diff slightly down to 45. I think that's going to help. I want to... Oh yeah, so the reason that I'm opening the diff, by the way, is just because on corner exit, it feels a little bit like it's just ploughing forwards with both front wheels spinning. Like I kind of want it to keep that rotation. So I just want to see if keeping that diff open, because it was going from like 30 to 60 on power. And I don't know, I always feel like if you've got that bigger difference between the coast and the power values, you're going to end up with sudden changes in balance. And I was getting quite a big swing towards understeer there. Right, the rear's swinging around a decent amount, but I just wonder if I increase the rear stiffness a little bit. Do I want to reduce the ride height? Because that's gone up a lot in terms of ride height, from 86 to 94. Might be worth going down a touch. 91, maybe? Right. Next thing. We're at 91. Travel range, 79 mils. 100 mils on the front. Yeah, that's fine. I'm just gonna like max that out and just let the front do its thing. Because I don't think I want any bump stops at the moment on the front. On the rear, I think I do want more bump stops. I'm gonna take that down to like 60. Do that, 60. Packer range, 100. Sorry, packer rate rather, 140. This isn't gonna be a unit, it's just 140. I'm gonna say that that's newtons per millimeter rather. And I'm gonna say 140 seems a bit much. I'm gonna take that down to 100 as well. Soft packers, but less range, so it actually engages them more. And that's just me thinking at high speed, getting it on the bump stops, you're gonna get that rotation through the corner. Okay, so I'm gonna try that. Now this might be too aggressive, and if this is too aggressive, I'm gonna need to do some fiddling, possibly rear ride height. but we'll see. So we've gone for like a kind of hyper-aggressive setup now. Since we kind of got it dialed in fairly nicely at a baseline, let's see if making a big change towards oversteer is going to ruin the car entirely. That was almost bad, because I almost missed my braking point entirely. So that curb on the inside of that right-hander you can touch, because it's a lower curb. These other ones are super high, and you want to avoid them, but that one on the inside there, you can go over it. And it's really hard to get the nose into, but if you can manage to get the nose in, then you can gain quite a lot. Because it means that you can straighten the car up for that right-hander before the straight. And if you can straighten the car, you can get the throttle easier. If you can get the throttle easier, then you can get more speed, and you gain all the way down that straight. Because you can't go wide on the corner that leads onto the back straight. Because if you go wide, you just clatter over that horrible curb. Oh. You clatter over that horrible curb, and yeah, that's good for nobody. Should have braked later. Should have braked later. That wasn't too bad. There we go, like that, right? You can get the line all the way out there. Oh, I hit the inside one a bit too much. You just want to like graze the... You don't want to get on the curb, you want to just hit the side of it there. And it can help the car rotate slightly. And it's like the perfect line. Wasn't the worst thing that I've ever done, but I did miss the apex. Okay, we didn't hit the wall. Success. And into the last corner. There we go. That wasn't too bad. That felt like a decent lap. 28.1. Okay, it was a good lap. There we go. Now that was a good send through T1, but I think there's even more time in it. Right, the stiffer rear end is definitely nicer. I'm tempted, though, to stiffen up the rear bar as well. Because in, like, on throttle, the car's feeling better, but it's not really changed that mid-corner. I mean, it has, like, very slightly, but there's so little weight over the rear of the car that the stiffer rear spring race is not really gaining as anything mid-corner, I don't think. Those rear brakes are cold, and those front brakes are warm. It's possible that my left rear tyre pressure is too low. Although I think I'd need to do more laps to actually be able to judge that. Right. In the high speed, I want a little bit more. I think I actually do want some front packer, and I think I'm gonna go for like 70 and then the softest. I think on the rear I actually want these to be stiff. I'm gonna go up to like 150 on the rear. So the reason that I want a bit of bump stop on the front is because hopefully that'll mean that when the car's fully diving, because remember I softened the front spring rate, so when I hit the brakes, the car fully dives into the corner and it's squirreling around, which is why in the last corner, as I go into the braking zone there, I go in, I lock a rear, and then I do that weird like slide into the last corner and kind of Scandi flick it into the last corner, which is, I mean, it's stylish, but it is not fast and it's terrible for the tyres. So if I can add a bit of front bump stop to maybe reduce the amount of dive that I'm getting, hopefully that'll reduce that squirreliness in the braking. And again, I don't need to change the brake bias any further because you saw how hot the front brakes were and how cold the rear brakes were. And you know, I mean, I don't know what the weight distribution in this car is, but like 70% front brake bias is already a lot. And I don't think pushing any further forwards are actually going to gain braking performance. We might reduce the amount of rear locking, but we're not going to gain any overall performance. So I don't think I particularly want to do that. So if I can just keep that rear weight distribution a little bit more under heavy braking, it might fix that. So I'm going to try 70 and then we'll see what happens. See if it actually engages. In terms of the rear ARB, I wanted to go up a click, and it's quite a wait, hang on a minute, 70,000 to 80,000. Okay, it's a decently large change, so I should be able to feel that fairly quickly. Rear ride height, I might want to lower the rear ride height. We're getting to the point now where some of these things make me want to open up Motec, but I don't want to change them just yet. Okay, dampers. So, for those of you uninitiated, dampers have two modes. They have bump and they have rebound. Some dampers have a slow bump and a fast bump, and a slow rebound and a fast rebound. These do not. They only have slow. So, or rather, they just have bump and rebound. So, obviously, you want soft dampers over bumps, like curbs and things, because you want the suspension to actually be able to do something. But you want stiffer dampers for kind of controlling the car. The important thing about dampers, though, that it's not the stiffness of the suspension, that's the spring rate, or the wheel rate in AC. The dampers is basically controlling that motion, so as it goes up, how quickly does it stop? How quickly does it come back down? How quickly does it recover to a steady state after it's bumped? Okay, so an undamped spring is going to kind of go boing, and a really damped spring will go boing. So you want something in between that where it's recovering nicely, but it's not taking too much time to do so. You don't want it to just kind of hit a brick wall because that ain't good for anybody. So the front dampers on this setup seem to be a kind of medium stiffness. The rear is a bit softer overall, which seems reasonable. I'm thinking though that I might want to stiffen up the front. Do I though? See, this is where it becomes tricky, because when you're thinking about how the car is reacting, I know that this is totally incorrect engineering, but it's just the way that I think about it, is the amount that the car is pitching or rolling, I think of as the suspension stiffness. The kind of acceleration of that, so like how quickly it's gaining rake or losing rake, or how quickly it's gaining roll, I think of that as dampers. So, for example, if I am going into a curved braking zone, let's think of the last corner, coming out of the kink, you kind of want to hit the brakes just as you straighten the wheel. Now, if I go into there and I've still got a little bit of steering angle, and I hit the brakes and the car immediately starts swinging out, to me, I want a stiffer damper there, because that means that the car is in bump, it's kind of accelerating too quickly. So a softer one is just going to slow that. We might get as much rake. So towards the end of the braking zone, the car's going to be reacting the same. Or rather, towards the middle of the braking phase, rather, once I've applied that and the car's kind of settled into its deceleration. But the initial jerk, technical term, is going to be lessened by a stiffer damper. Now, thinking about it into that last corner, I'm not sure that it's actually the jerk that's doing it. I think it's just the amount, right? So I think the bump stop is going to stop us from having that weird sideways slide. I think that a softer damper is going to allow this middle section to just feel a little bit nicer. So I'm actually going to go down on the front dampers from 15 to 13. And I'm going to go down a couple on the rebound as well. And on the rear, I'm going to go down to like, I'm going to go down to like 10. I'm going to increase the rebound as well. So the rebound is about how quickly it is recovering. Generally, bump is like how quickly you're going to apply the suspension movement, and the rebound is how quickly the car kind of settles after it and the wheel stops oscillating. So the aim is to reduce the oscillation, obviously, reduce the amount of oscillation as much as possible, but make whatever oscillation that you need, because you need some, if you're going over a bump or something, you need some oscillation, but make that oscillation recover smoothly and quickly. Okay, so I'm going to try this. I need to keep an eye on that rear left pressure because I think it might be 1 psi under. It's possible that with the new suspension settings I need a bit less rear toe because I'm currently at 0.27 and that seems like a lot, but we'll see. Okay, so 128.1 is the time to beat. Let's get into the 27s. See what I can do. Interesting. Car felt nicer over there with the softer front dampers. It didn't seem to clout the curb quite as much. Okay. That feels nicer to me. Initial impressions are good of that change in that middle sector. Let's see what it's like under heavy braking. So again, into this hairpin, and then into the last corner, which was the... Okay. Note to self, don't do that. That's a good way to break the car. All right, let's try that again, shall we? Yeah, so I just want to pay attention to how the car acts under heavy braking. I increased that the stiffness of the... Well, no, I brought in the front bump stop, so there's a bit less travel on the front. So it should hit the front bump stops. I would guess we're definitely going to hit the front bump stops into that. Window cracks, I think that's just in AC, is it not? If not, then sure, it's a CSP setting. I think there is a CSP setting somewhere to turn that off, or at least there is for like window dirt. I think I have the windscreen dirt turned off. I honestly don't know about the window cracks. That might just be because I've got damage on. I don't know whether the race server has damage on. I need to remember that last downshift. I keep forgetting the downshift. Okay. I think we can get a bit less travel on the front. I think we can go down to like 60. Like 30%. Yeah, that's possible. That is possible. I mean, this is an offline session, so it'll default to 100% damage. One downshift into turn 1. Don't do 2. One downshift. Need to remember that. Okay, that wasn't the worst middle sector in the world, but it wasn't the best either. I have done better driving in my time. Oh no! Oof. And that was bad. Hairpin was okay. Alright, we're gaining speed through that corner, where I was struggling to kind of carry the right amount of speed. There's that rear instability again. Yeah, I mean, practice does help. I will say that. It is useful. Okay. Okay, that was a big curb clout. Alright, car's feeling nice now. What are we looking at? Too much front camber. Rear camber's okay, but too much front camber. Oh, I came off the brakes too much too soon. Oh, I'm just losing so much time this lap. Okay, don't want to be on that corner, on that curve there. Okay, let's do a better lap. Okay, alright. That was maybe a little bit too much of a send. I think I need to slow down slightly more than that. Right. Okay. Now I'm just sending it to try and go quickly rather than actually improving my driving or the setup. I'm gonna do what I said I was gonna do, which is reduce the amount of travel on the front down to 60. Yeah? And I'm gonna do 50 on the rear. So that should keep the front having more travel than the rear in the high speed. I am going to also increase the packer rate just to 120, just to make sure that it is stopping the car from doing that squirrely nonsense. I think I'm quite happy with the suspension there. I think that, what were we thinking over those curbs? I think that maybe we do actually only want 7 on the rear for the rebound. So when you think about the car going over the curbs, the rebound, so bump is the tyre going up, rebound is the tyre coming down. So as you're going over a curb, the bump stiffness changes how hard the initial hit is, and rebound is more to do with the tyre coming back down. So if you're getting instability coming off a curb, probably rebound related. If you're getting instability going onto a curb, it's probably bump related. Now, what it felt like to me was that coming off the curb, I was getting a bit of oversteer, but it wasn't that it was like bouncing. So if it was getting bouncing, that's probably because my rebound is too soft and the tyre is coming back down and hitting the ground too quickly and bouncing the car, which I don't want. Instead, it was just the tyre was coming down too slowly, and so I wasn't getting the grip quickly enough coming off the curb. The car wasn't reacting fast enough. So I need a slightly softer rebound on the rear just to do that. Alignment, the front camber, that's the wrong direction. The front camber was too much. I'm going to go down to like minus 4.0 on the front, because that seemed like too much. And I'm also going to reduce, what do we think? Yeah, one click of rear toe. Seems okay, 0.2 rear toe. And I might just increase the front toe a little bit. For some reason the adjustment is backwards. So you want negative toe on the front, which is toe out for that response, and you want toe in on the rear for that stability. Toe out on the rear, universally a bad thing. There are some very specific situations in which you can kind of put up with it, but you certainly don't want it static. These numbers here in the suspension menu. These are your static values. So these are your values of the car at rest as it is in the pit box, because this is live, right? So this is actually as the car is sat in the pit box, what is it doing? Now, obviously, under suspension travel, some of these values are going to change depending on suspension geometry. You might have some of your alignments changing, especially things like cambers. You're going to get camber gain with suspension travel relative to the road, camber loss in roll. So you want to kind of tune the amount of alignment in the various different ways so that dynamically the car is set up correctly, not necessarily static. I can't remember what my point was that I was going to make regarding the alignments. Oh yeah. I was just going to say there might be certain situations in which you want a very neutral or very slightly towed in rear, but allow it to be slightly towed out under load. But that's a very aggressive way of having the car. You're going to have a very twitchy, very oversteery car if you do that. I'm going to do that pressure change as well. And I'm going to save the setup so far. Right. See what this is like. See what it's like over the curves with the dampers? Right, what's it going to be like through the kink with the updated travel range, and what's it going to be like under braking when I smash the brakes? Is it going to dive too much? Is it not going to dive enough? What are we going to get? That was okay. That felt okay. For now. Ooh, the car's shaping up. It's shaping up. Okay. How aggressive can I be into turn one? That was too aggressive. Too aggressive. Right. Let's nail this middle section. Oh, I turned in too soon. Hit the brakes too soon, turn in too soon. Use that curb. Get on the throttle nice and early. That was good. That was good. It felt good. It felt responsive. My driving did not, but the car felt nice. Okay. Still sketchy through there. Good. Good. Car feels good. That was awful though. Like impressively awful. And my lap time was terrible as well. So if I just use that left curve a little bit into turn one, I can gain a bit of time. Bad. Okay, I'm going to try in a second locking that front diff power up again. Because now it feels like the front diff is kind of scrambling for traction, which it shouldn't be doing. Now that I've got the rear a bit more dialed in, I need the I need those front tyres to be finding traction quicker so that I can respond. When the rear of the car turns, I want to be able to capitalize by getting on the throttle nice and early. And also I think the front rebound, I think I need more front rebound. So the reason that I think I need more front rebound is coming back to that idea of coming off the curbs. It feels like it's bouncing coming off the curbs with the front wheels. So I'm going to go up to 7 on the front rebound. The damper's right. Try a bit more diff power. It seems like a lot of diff power. So I'm not sure how much I believe that is going to solve all of my problems. And then the last thing that I'm considering is pushing that brake balance forward another %, which might be beneficial. Okay. I will say that the difference between the car now and when I started is night and day. Oh god. That was bad. Yeah, it actually wants to respond now, which is great. Whereas before it you know, it didn't do what you told it to do. Right, let's see what traction is like coming out of the last corner. It's possible that that brake balance is still wrong. You need to not hit that inside curve, it just pushes me wide. not too bad. That wasn't too great. But I should gain down here, maybe. It felt like a decent exit. Oh, I hit the barrier. Oh, I didn't quite. I just went on the curve a bit too much. That was a send. I will admit that was a send. Bad last corner. Bad. Like 3/10 in that last corner. Sent it over there as well. I gained a lot. Okay. I'm a little bit concentrated right now. Oh, it was awful in the last corner. I was 3/10 up and I lost it all in the last corner. I think it's just because I'm braking too early into the last corner. Because I'm scared. Because I think it's again that squirreling. The squirreling. Okay, right. This is the point at which I need to say car feels good, setup feels good, save the setup, open Motec, see if I can change anything. Right, Motec. I will add in a window capture. Where are we? Window, and the window that I want to open is Motec. Hello. Hello, Motec. But obviously it's going to be fairly fairly unreadable for you, so good luck with that. You should be able to see some nice graphs though. So we are at Adelaide. Adelaide 2016 TCR. The latest one, that was the 28.130. Right. Okay. So what can we learn? First thing that I want to look at is the dampers. Oh my. Right. That seems to me poorly damped. That seems generally poorly damped. So, the front is worse than the rear. We might need like a clicker bump and like 3 of rebound on the front. Okay, we're gonna go for that. On the dampers, we're gonna go a clicker bump and 1, 2, 3 of rebound. That was 4. 3 of rebound. On the rear, we probably want a click of bump and 2 of rebound. Rebound seems close. A click of bump. 1, 2, 1, 2 of rebound. Okay. That's probably going to be better. Next. Ride height. All of that. So when I hit the brakes here, what I should be doing, travel. Oh, it's just riding the bump stops the whole time. That's why. That's why it's bad. Suspension travel. Where are we? Kink. On the right hand kink, we want to be looking at how much suspension travel have we got on the rear left. Right, so it is hitting that. It's also hitting that though. It's not what I want. What I want is... Right. The front. We're going up to 80. We're going to leave that at 120 for now. On the rear, is we're hitting the bump stops just constantly. So I'm gonna go up a touch on the rear travel as well. See, sometimes Motec is helpful. That's horrendous, but that might fix itself. The ride heights. So, getting to like here, what are we looking at? We're looking at like 90. We're looking at flat rake at high speed. Ish. That being the sort of average. There. Yeah. Don't want to change the ride heights particularly. Camber, no, toe is what I want to look at. We are getting toe out a lot. And when I hit the brakes, there for example, oh, that's okay. That's fine. That's fine. Okay, Motec says that this should be better. Let's see if that is the case. If that is the case, then hooray. That is not the case. Then I'll go back to what I had before because it felt pretty decent. And that'll be that. By the way, if you can hear a horrendous noise in the background, I apologise. The tumble dryer is on. Right. Onwards. Back to the land of understeer. See what I can do. try and do a good lap and then open it up in Motec and see if I fixed those problems I should have fixed. I need to hit the brakes later into the last corner. I just need to be braver. Okay, that was a terrible sequence of corners there, but I think that's more my driving than necessarily the car. Feels good at high speed. Oh, that was so bad. I'm still braking way too early into that last corner. I mean, that was half decent, so I just want to see what that's like on the Motec graphs. But there's like half a second in it, at least half a second in it. So let's have one more look at Motec. Right. Log files, that is what I want to look at. Right, damper velocities. That was the old one, that was the new one. Has it made that much of a difference? I mean, I'm getting more travel, that's for certain. The damping is looking better. I want another click of rebound on both the front and the rear. Travel. Hit the brakes into there. Wait, how often are we in? So like there, under braking. There, but I think that's just like roll. Right, I'm gonna reduce the front travel by another 10. Because that's not gonna mean that I'm in the bump stops all the time. So front travel, we're gonna go down by 10. At the rear, I'm on the bump stops. Where am I? 60. I'm not on the bump stops that much at the rear, which is what I want. I am there. That is, that's going over that curve. I'm getting on the bump stops. That right-hander, I'm on the bump stops at the rear, which seems reasonable. I don't hate that. But it could maybe go with being a slightly softer bump stop in that case. Go down to 140, take the front bump stops down to like 130. Okay. The dampers, it was a click of rebound all around, so that'll be 11 rebound on the front, 10 on the rear. Seems better. What's the camber looking like? Ooh, do I have tires, temperatures? Here we go. This is what we want to see. So the average is like 6 and 6, which is good. The rear, oh wait, the right hand side rather, average is approximately okay. Yeah. Camber's about okay. We could maybe go for... No, I think we're about right on the camber. I don't want to change the camber. The toe. It's a good point. No, that's the wrong window. That one. The toe. Toe. We're back in suspension. Suspension. Toe. Front toe. We've got toe out. Around these corners, what's the average toe looking like? Plus 0.7 minus 0.38. Plus 0.7 minus... Yeah, okay, right. So if I go to tires and I go slip angles, here, what are we looking at? Slip angles. High speed slip angles. The inside is slipping more than the outside, I would expect. But it possibly... That's like a full degree, which seems like a lot. Okay. I'm gonna reduce the front by just a touch. Back to 0. Is that it? Yeah, it is 0. Just reduce that a little bit. The rears? I'm going to reduce the rear toe just... do I want to do that? No, I'm going to leave that. That was good. Diff seems okay, but let me just check the slip ratios. Yeah, it's not too ridiculous. We're not getting too much wheel spin. So, right. Slip angles versus slip ratios. So a slip angle is how, like, so if the wheels are pointing in that direction, what is the angle to the direction of travel, basically? So if you've got a high slip angle, then you're looking at the tires pointing in the incorrect direction, right? Slip ratio is wheel speed to like vehicle speed. So if you're seeing a positive slip angle on the rear, you're seeing a positive slip ratio on the rear, you're seeing wheel spin, which obviously you're not going to see in a front wheel drive car. So where it's positive here on the front, that is all wheel spin. You can see that it's, under acceleration, we're getting wheel spin. And on a deceleration, we're getting a little bit of under rotation, where it spikes, those are little locks. On the bottom, those are big lockups that you can see. So what you can actually see is that the fronts are like just on the edge of locking in a couple of places. Just at the end of the braking zone, both front tyres are just about to lock. Now, if I add another degree of front brake bias, that might tip that over. But it may well help. In terms of the diff, what I was looking for was just to see if the wheel spin was too uneven. It seems okay. It'll be fine. So I'm going to leave that as is. I am going to just push the brake bias another degree forwards, see what that's like. I'm just going to save this whole thing as setup number 2. And now, setup number 2 being my Motect 1. Oh, turn off Motec on the stream. There we go, back in the game. So, let's have one more shot. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Car's feeling good so far. I know I say that a lot recently, but I keep forgetting how much of a difference this setup has made so far. Alright, we were still locking the rear. Didn't feel like I was getting massive front lockups though, so that's good. I don't know how visible the tyre app is for you guys while I'm driving, but you can see the big red line goes over it when it's fully locked. Ooh. 71 brake bias might be the way to go, guys. It might just be the way to go. Oh, I can brake later into there. Come on. Get turned in. Alright. That wasn't too hot, but whatever. Yeah, the tyre pressures I think are about right. You don't want to hit that inside curb. It's going to send you straight into that outside wall. Okay. I didn't go faster. I was still making all the same mistakes, but they are driver mistakes. They are not car mistakes. That feels, frankly, pretty damn good. So, if you're interested in seeing the final setup, I will show it to you very quickly. It looks like this. So I've got tyre pressures up there like that. Those many litres. That's my rear wing. Those are my settings for alignment. Those are my settings for bump and rebound. There's my drivetrain. There's my brake bias. That's my suspension. And those are my advanced suspension settings. Right. I am going to save that as number 1. I'm going to delete that number 2. Save number 1 again. Make sure that is the correct one, yeah. I'm going to save it in here as well, and I'm going to call it Adelaide. All saved. Adelaide has been saved, and I think that is that. Right, if you have been watching, thank you very much. I hope that you've at least vaguely enjoyed a lot of my rambling and mumbling and slowly driving around Adelaide. I've got a load of shorts coming if you're interested in that sort of thing. My hair is looking particularly mad scientist today. I'm kind of into it. I look like some kind of crazy mad physicist. Yeah, I've got loads of YouTube shorts that are uploading. There's just loads of old clips of like old hot laps and things like that that I thought I would edit into shorts. Since oh god, that's unfixable. That I'd edit into shorts just because there's nothing else I can do with it. So those are coming. They're coming up daily. It's going to last until like middle of October. I'll see if I can upload any more after that. But so if you're interested in just like clips of sim racing, subscribe. I'm also going to try and upload some videos. I do want to do a setup series. I don't know if that's going to happen. I do want to do some more like different simulators, testing out different cars and things like that. I might do that. Got a few ideas. We'll see. I'm going to try and make Setup Sunday a regular thing. So if you're interested in seeing me rambling about setups anymore, stick around. And if you do, then fantastic. Thank you very much. And hopefully I will see you all next time. Bye-bye.